Big man ting, smash the like button and subscribe. Anthony, what did I tell you about blowing people's back out? You man thought I was joking. Oh, YB, he's being extra. I told you. Yeah? Did you? Never mind round 9. Let's talk about round, what was it, 2 or whatever it was. Your boy no good, Lev, give his back up, turned his back. Didn't want, in fact, I was about to say he didn't want no more. He did want something, but he didn't want no punches. What he wanted his back blown right out for him. 1,000,000%. Listen, what have we been calling AJ? What have I been saying? Anthony, the Pulev cheek snatcher. What do we know about cheeks? Cheeks ain't on the front of your body, they're on your back. And Pulev knew what time it was. Pulev's also a YB subscriber. Yeah? He's playing his gender role. It was time for him to spread the cheeks. You don't spread. What's that saying they say in the rap songs? What was it? Head south. Head south. Back. What was it? No, head to the south. Head to the south. Back to the north. Something next to end of the day. Your boy Pulev. He knew what gender role we had to play at that particular point in time. Give his back right up for him. And then the ref tried to string it all out and whatnot. However, listen, obviously, we've seen Pulev got his cheeks spread right open for him by Anthony, the cheek spreader, Joshua. However, your boy the YB, this fight, you know what my opinion was before the fight. I told you straight, this needs to be straight devastation. Did we see straight devastation? We started off, whatever round it was, round 4 or round 3, whenever it was. We started off on the right kind of track. Maybe I'm being, you're being too picky and whatnot. But I didn't see enough of that kind of action. And this is what I don't understand as well. The minute AJ holds his feet, it all comes together. The minute he don't worry about all the extra stuff, the minute he stops doing that, his shots start flowing. When the right hand that put no good Lev out, that didn't come from him bouncing around the place. And I'm not saying you need to have flat feet, but I talk about Canelo. Look at how Canelo hunted Kovalev around the ring. That's sometimes how you need to fight. And when you go about to fight Fury and people like Pulev, shouldn't have been, in my opinion, Pulev, it's a great win, but I want more than just a good win or an average win. He's got it all in there. It's just putting it all together in the right way, or sorry, the optimum way. What we saw tonight, that weren't optimum for me. There's no way. Why? Someone explain to me why Pulev was holding the center of the ring more than AJ was. Explain. I don't get that. I can't fathom it. It was one thing when you want to say, well, YB, you're silly because Ruiz has really quick hands and there's no way AJ can trade with Ruiz. This is what everyone was telling me. Alright, whatever, Trevor. If that's what you think, fine. But you can't, what, you're going to tell me now? Oh, YB, well, Pulev's got quicker hands and Pulev's more ferocious on the inside. Pulev's got a better chin. These things just aren't true. So, if you're going to be on the outside against Ruiz, whatever, Trevor, Pulev now. Why still on the outside? Show me a fight, before all this extra new stuff. Show me a fight where AJ is always on the outside of the ring. This guy's not meant to be, this guy's the tank. He don't worry about being on the outside of the ring. Now, as I said, it don't mean you have low IQ and you don't know when you need to move kind of thing. A great example of this for me is Josh Taylor. When Josh Taylor had his recent fight and he got his eye bust. He knew he had to start moving, but equally he also knows when it's time to hold his feet. And his equally in his weight class, he's lanky. Much more lanky than AJ is. So the point is, if Josh Taylor can hold his feet and mix it up despite being tall, you don't see Josh Taylor running around the place. I just don't get the need for the running around the place. His best work gets done on the inside. But for some reason, not only was he not holding the centre of the ring, he was also initiating a lot of the hugging, a lot of the whatever you call it. I've got the word of it, but you know what I'm saying. A lot of the grappling was initiated by AJ. Like he didn't want to be. There wasn't much comfort on the inside. And even to be honest, that first exchange in the third or fourth round, where your boy No Good Lev gave his back up and was about to get his back blown out by AJ, when No Good Lev offered his back up as a sacrifice, he offered it straight up. Yeah, that booty was to the north. 1,000,000%. Is it to the north or to the south? Listen, it was facing upwards. That's what it was doing. Pulev put that booty straight in the air. Yeah? What is that saying? Arse back. It's something like that, isn't it? It's something like something south and something north. And it's meant to be, let me paint a picture for you. When this particular saying is when you think of a woman, back straight in the air, and you know what I mean? And that kind of thing. Anyway, on that flurry, and I'm being quite picky and quite technical here, but listen, you know my opinion. People, YB, that's the AJ fanger. Well, no. I know he's got all the bits that he needs to be. He's got all the fundamentals to make. I think personally he's like a hybrid between Ali and Tyson. In as much as Tyson can't fight on the back foot whatsoever. We all saw what happened there. When anyone who backed Tyson up, he looked like a fish out of water. We know AJ can fight on the back foot. Equally, more so earlier in his career. No way was he as prolific as Tyson was? No, of course not. But still, it's that mixture. You can't tell me Ali was a better inside fighter or was a more ferocious or prolific inside fighter than AJ is. And that's my point. He's like the best of both worlds, Hovis. But anyway, back to the actual technical element. On that first flurry where No Good Lev offered his backup, yeah? On that exchange, my main notes were, look at how AJ was doing his work. It was very rushed and almost not as if he hasn't trained, because it's very, to be fair to him, it is very hard to, what's the word? It's hard to recreate them emotions, them in-fight emotions in training. I can't imagine it. Imagine 90,000 people or 1,000 people, you got all the TV cameras watching, and all of a sudden, the opponent in front of you is hurt. Your heart rate goes up, and you just start, not panicking, but you just start rushing your work. And one of the best people for not rushing their work is Conor McGregor. Earlier, in the prime of Conor McGregor's career, there's several times he hurts his opponent and then he almost takes a half step back and sizes up his opponent. He doesn't just rush in and just start swinging. He takes his time and he approaches things. He despite his opponent being ready to go, despite his opponent offering the booty up as a sacrifice, despite his opponent having their cheeks spread wide open already, he takes that pause to collect himself. Because what you'll notice is when you take that pause, you can actually pick your shots a lot better. Rather than drilling 4 of the same shot over and over, take that pause and you can just start setting things up. And there was a lot of headhunting tonight as well. I think if AJ could have, I think AJ, a few times he did about 4 uppercuts in a row. Now, the uppercut that put Vlad down, that massive one where his neck got stretched out for him, AJ stretched his neck right out for him. On that picture, or on that shot, to get them openings, yeah, sometimes you get offered them, but on the main, you got to bring them hands down. And Pulev had his hands wrapped round his ears like earmuffs. So you have to lure it out of them. And that's what Tyson was great at, banging to the body and coming up top, rather than just headhunting. If AJ had put some, on them times when Pulev was hurt, if he'd have touched the body a bit first, took a pause, touched the body, and then touched the head, mixed it up more, just thinking it, basically, not that he's not thinking about his work, but you know what I'm saying, being a bit more strategic, and being a bit more medical with it. Is it medical? You know what I'm saying? Treating it like a math problem that you got to calculate. Rather than, oh, he's hurt, let me just rush in and throw a whole load of shots. And what you'll notice is what you notice is as well, the effectiveness or the efficiency, the damage you're doing when you're just throwing loads of shots isn't really worth it, because the amount of energy it costs you to just throw a whole load of shots and they go anywhere, you don't get much yield for that. You're much better off, okay, he's hurt. He ain't going nowhere. He ain't gonna suddenly recover in 4 seconds. Take a second and put something together. Okay, he's hurt. Let me do double jab to the, I don't know. This is what you're meant to be doing in training. That's what worries me. I think McCracken has got AJ doing a whole load of defensive, running around the place stuff, and then when it comes to doing what he was great at, that hasn't. I've said this for years or for a while. AJ's offensive prowess hasn't improved. We talked about the Charles Martin fight, counterpunching. Where was counterpunching tonight? Where has counterpunching been for years, really? That Charles Martin fight was beautiful. Charles Martin stepped in, AJ dinged the right hand, that was all she wrote. We haven't seen these finer elements of offensive fighting develop. Now, maybe there's not enough hours in the day, because I have to credit McCracken to an extent. Has AJ's running around the place and footwork ability increased? Absolutely. But that ain't really what you need to excel in my opinion, in this particular heavyweight division. If there was a whole load of Mike Tysons in there, I'd say, yeah, man, that's what he needs to be. But there's a whole, all that's there in today. In today's heavyweight environment, there isn't a whole load of Andy Ruizes and Mike Tysons who you're thinking, you know what, yeah, this is what he needs to be able to do to remain successful. To the contrary, there's a load of big, stiff, long trees. Even Tyson, yeah, not Tyson Fury, sorry, he's not stiff, but he's a big tree, isn't he? How AJ boxed tonight, he ain't going to cut the tree down. I can tell you that for free. I can't see. I'm not being funny, but he barely really cut down the Pulev tree. Pulev was hunting him around the ring. And me personally, I don't personally find it a good look. Pulev, he's old. I just don't get it. Why couldn't AJ have been the one holding the centre of the ring and backing him up from the start? Explain it to me. Why did AJ have to be on the back foot? I do think, to be fair to him, there is an element of the champion's curse, where, like John Jones was completely ferocious. Got the belts and now he can't stop anyone. Not that AJ can't stop people, but I'm saying it's that thing of that. The minute you get the belts, you don't want to lose them, so you become all defensive, and you're more worried about losing rather than winning in a particular fashion. And I think that's why, as well, when AJ hurt Pulev, he just jumped all over him and was just rushing. He wasn't like, as an example, yeah, when AJ fought Dillian White, he was sticking his tongue out and he was just almost walking forward. There was no anxiety or anticipation, and that was Dillian White. Albeit not as good as he is now, but still, that Dillian White, in my opinion, is as good as Pulev is. And AJ just had that air of calm. He didn't need to be on his toes 24/7. He was happy just to march forward, and let his shots rattle off. And I don't see why that can't be the case now. And that was 4 years ago. He should really be developing. Now, I understand, well, he lost, so maybe a bit of that confidence gone. But what's his team doing, man? And I'll tell you what they're doing. I think they play on that part too much. They've got him feeling scary. Oh, you know what I mean? Oh, just like you can hear him cracking in the corner. Oh, what was it when Manny Stewart had Klitschko? Manny Stewart was going mad saying, "Get this guy out of there." I've never once heard McCracken say, "Get this guy out of there." And I can just imagine what they do and what they don't do in training. I bet you any money, for the last X amount of years, McCracken's never really worked on AJ's finishing. That's why it hasn't improved. There ain't no counter punching and no finishing, and that's why when his opponents get hurt, it's all new to him. He didn't look like a man who had really prepared to stop people. Like his finishing game, the cheeks was wide open. Yeah, the cheek got spread. That booty was to the north, ready to get. You know what I mean? Ready for the meat. Just before the meet, my man, the heat of the moment got too much and he flopped on it, essentially. That's what I feel happened. It's almost like, oh, I've been training just to outbox people and jab and right hand, and now that he's actually hurt, I haven't really prepared to dissect someone in an offensive manner. And I feel like this whole jabbing and moving and light-footedness, I think that's played out now. We get it. And I said that after the second Ruiz fight. Yeah, we get it now. You've ticked that box. Now let's get on with the stuff that you're actually made for, which is, I want to see AJ just put in beautiful work, beautiful offensive work together, especially when you're fighting people who are just stiff and heavy bags. Pulev's a heavy bag, in my opinion. We should have seen some just crazy stuff tonight, crazy offensive domination. Instead, as I mentioned, AJ at least half of the time was the one to initiate the holds. Why couldn't he just hold his feet and chin down, hands up, and start? You know what I mean? What's Pulev going to do? Throw a right hand or right, parry it. Stay on the inside and just get to work. And if you want an example of it, watch Josh Taylor fight. He's happy just to, you know what I mean? He's happy just to stand there and shoulder, like, if stand there in front of his opponent, and if you know what I mean, get that tight guard up and just mix it all up. And when you're in that position, when you're comfortable in the pocket, that's when AJ is going to be his most dangerous. When he's comfortable there, because at the moment a lot of his inside work is rushed. He kind of pounces on it. When there's a little opportunity, he'll pounce. That's not really where you do your best work. You do your best work where you're comfortable and you've got time to think and really mix things up. A great example of it, another one heavyweight. This one's a heavyweight example. Watch Burt Cooper versus Holyfield. Burt Cooper versus Holyfield. For as long as that fight went, them two men were comfortable on top of each other. And to be fair to AJ, this is a lost skill, in my opinion. These kind of inside fighting skills, they're not really used. It feels to me like boxing's gone a lot more down the European way, i.e. Klitschko, just pure jab, right hand, and move your feet. That's the way boxing's been heading for a while, to be fair. It's all this, and it's, in a way, it's a bit, Mayweather wasn't this extreme, but it's that Mayweather effect as well. People don't want to lose. People would rather not lose, and be boring than win or risk winning being entertaining. That's the way it's going. Because the lowest risk thing in boxing to do is jab and right hand and stay on the outside. That's the way you can pretty much guarantee a win. But it's not the way you get the most out of yourself. And I wouldn't mind you if AJ was someone like whoever. But just look at Fury, for example, in his last fight. Now Wilder ain't no good anyway, but still. Look at how the trainer gassed Fury up. Fury went from being with Ben Davidson, who's the most negative fighter trainer in the world, who don't want you to do nothing. Worse than McCracken. Oh, don't engage, just stay on the outside, run around the place. Next thing you know, he gets a new trainer, and now he's fighting like Mike Tyson. And Fury hasn't lost all the extra stuff on the outside, all the frilly business. He can still feint and all that other herky-jerky stuff, but that's in addition to. AJ needs someone like that in his corner now, I feel. Who's gonna, yeah, right, we get it, you can do all the moist extra stuff. Now let's crack on with refining the bits that you were already good at. It feels to me like, and AJ mentioned it, AJ said, oh, I've got weaknesses and I'm turning them into my strengths. And I completely agree. His weakness earlier in his career was he couldn't really box on the back foot. But you've done that now. That is now probably you, but you've overdone it. In my opinion, AJ's offensive prowess hasn't improved in 4 or 5 years. If anything, in my opinion, it's probably gone backwards. I can't remember the last time I've seen AJ counterpunch. I can't remember the last time I've seen him put some offensive work together that wasn't rushed, and you know what I'm saying? Conversely, I've seen him be able to outbox people beautifully. His outboxing skills, 9 out of 10. You can't knock that. But this ain't the era that you need to be that great at outboxing. This is the era full of stiff planks. Look, seriously, look around at the era, yeah? Take Fury out, or even with Fury in. He's someone who needs to be chased down, isn't he? Is he not? Maybe Fury will come looking, and that would be great. But still, if he doesn't, he's going to need to be chased down. So AJ ain't going to beat Fury by outboxing him, I don't believe. Or sorry, it's much less likely for him to win that way. The most likely way he wins is chin down, hands up, hold your feet, hold the centre of the ring, and chase him around, like Canelo did to Kovalev. That's how AJ wins the fight, because he'll be the busier man, and he'll be the one doing the offensive work. If AJ goes in there against Fury, and he's doing all this, imagine Fury holding the centre of the ring. And I hate to say it, but why wouldn't he be? Because Pulev was. You know what I'm saying? That's what I don't understand. If Pulev can hold the centre of the ring against you, who can't? And that to me is a key psychological thing. And that's why in the fight, yeah, you saw Pulev getting gassed. Pulev was all smiling, and even though he got beat, but still, because from a confidence point of view, and from a positioning point of view, Pulev was the one holding the centre of the ring, and that gives you a level of confidence. When you've got your man moving his feet loads and and engaging a lot of the holds, that gets people gassed. Now, unfortunately for Pulev, he doesn't have the skills or the power or the attributes to do anything with that. So he couldn't convert it, but still, even though he was getting beat every round 0 to 10, he still had that confidence because he was holding the centre of the ring and he was the one doing the hunting as such, even though he didn't let his hands go. But do you know what I'm saying? It's that psychological part of it. And I said at the start of this yesterday, I want to see him hold his feet and get stuck in and hunt this guy down and dissect him. And we didn't see that. Anyway, I've rambled on for long enough. Let me know your thoughts. Of course, I'm happy for the win, but listen, I'm going to be consistent. Before the fight, I said 4 rounds was too many. And it was 9, 10 rounds. So, I'll be intrigued to see what you guys think now. Am I being too hypocritical? Sorry, am I being too critical? Whatever. But as I said before, I think me and a lot of other AJ fans, we put him on a particular level. I'm not just going to ride him. Yeah, so Fury fans, they'll just ride Fury for the sake of riding him. No matter what he does, you're going to ride him. That's not really me. I rate AJ as an athlete and as a special athlete. So when you rate someone as a special athlete, you expect special things from them. Tonight was average at best for this type of opponent. AJ should have been the one doing the hunting tonight. Not one back step should have been taken. And another example, just quickly before I go, Canelo again. I think Canelo's training would be a great... I know they're Mexican, but still. I think that would be a great trainer for AJ. Because Canelo against Triple G in the first fight, he was getting backed up. The second fight, Canelo, his strategy was, I'm not going to move backwards. And that was against Triple G, he's the big scary guy. He was the bigger fighter. AJ versus everyone in the future, he's always going to be the big scary guy. But you know what I'm saying? So if Canelo, in my opinion, was able to back up Kovalev, who's much bigger than him, and was able to back up Triple G, who's also bigger than him, why AJ should have no problem backing up people and refusing to take a back step against these scrubs, these big stiff trees. And it comes down to the trainer and the team. These men, I don't know what they're doing, but they ain't doing it right, in my opinion. Anyway, long enough. Let me know your thoughts, and your boy will be back.